Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Terrence Thompson, and welcome to Don't Talk, Just Listen. Boy, I tell you, it's been so, so long since I've done anything with this podcast, and the truth be that I tried too hard to be like others. I tried too hard to follow in the footsteps of other people, mimic what they did, and I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't having fun anymore. I was too focused on the numbers, and the numbers are important, but I made them the priority instead of just being the person that I am. A lifelong wrestling fan, someone who, in my humble opinion, knows so much about this business, and I lost what my intentions truly were. And in starting, don't talk, just listen. I've had so many name changes in such a short period of time. But don't talk, just listen. It, it, it's more than just a name. It's a lifestyle. It's a religion of sorts. And my whole purpose is to be someone that you can listen to and know that everything I say is objective. Whether you agree with it or not, understand there's no bias when it comes to me, because in this business, in this wrestling business, there's so many reporters. There's so many news sites that claim to be real, claim to know facts, claim to be spewing the truth. And really they're just spewing biases. The same way Dave Meltzer. So many people look to Dave Meltzer, but he's biased towards AEW at this current moment. The same way people look at Ryan Satin, which everything he says is dumb. He wanted validation for the Sasha Banks crying in the hallway. He wanted everybody to believe that. And when she came back, her promo confirmed his reporting. But then her documentary was literally her telling the truth and that none of that happened. So you gotta think about who you're getting this information from. And that's what Don't Talk, Just Listen is all about. That's why I came back. This week is such a big week in the WWE. It's premiere week. Tonight we had the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. On Wednesday we have the first 2 hour live special edition. But it's not special edition. It's special edition for the moment. You know what I mean? NXT first 2 hour live episode on USA, going head to head with the very first episode period of AEW Dynamite. And then on Friday, the return of Friday Night SmackDown, but this time the debut on Fox. This is such a big week. So let's dive right on into the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. I personally thought Monday Night Raw, well, it was a good episode. I thought it was enjoyable until the main event and the closing segment of the show. But I'll get into that. First off, let's start back with the fact that now we have a new stage for Monday Night Raw, and we're going to have a new stage for SmackDown Live. I personally thought this stage, if I was a skateboarder, I would have thought Monday Night Raw was my heaven. It was nothing more than a gigantic skate ramp, in my opinion. And I feel like if they're gonna go with this concept, which obviously they've already done it now. They've put out YouTube videos and had an entire 3 hour episode, season premiere. So obviously this is going to be the permanent new set for right now for Monday Night Raw. In my opinion, if you're gonna do this set, you have to upgrade some of these superstar graphics. for their Titantron and their banners and all that, because some of them was okay. Some of them worked fine with the new setup. But people like Brock Lesnar, his was horrendous. There are people where like the names and stuff are distorted because there's a curvature now at an awkward angle. Stuff like it. Long story short, this would be a good setup for smaller, like if NXT, which is a smaller venue, Full Sail University, if NXT had something like this, they could get away with it because it's such a smaller venue. But with Monday Night Raw, you're doing these big arenas, and it's kind of awkward to have all the lights and the surrounding screens and crap like that. If those, if that area is bigger than the actual Titantron and stuff like that, it throws off the entire setup, in my opinion. I didn't mind it that much. It's just with certain superstar graphics, it's gonna look very noticeable that it doesn't look well to some degree with some superstars. Um, Pyro is back finally. Then they went overboard with Pyro in like the first 45 minutes. Everybody had Pyro in the first 45 minutes, but then they died that down, as you would believe. Only certain people, the top stars, are gonna get Pyro. You would believe, just like how it was back in the day. You know, Rene Dupree never had Pyro back in the day. I was a big Rene Dupree fan. Shout out to Rene Dupree. Um, yeah, just don't go. We want Pyro. It's fantastic that it's back. Just don't go overboard with Pyro, because then I will get annoyed about it really, really quickly. Okay. We also have a brand new three-man commentary team: Vic Joseph, Dio Madden, and Jerry the King Lawler. And to be honest, when the reports and the speculation and rumors were coming out that Vic Joseph and Dio Madden were gonna be the new commentary team for Monday Night Raw, I was shocked, as you understand, because Dio Madden, this was Monday Night Raw was literally maybe his third or fourth week of commentary, with two of them being on 205 Live, and not that many people look at 205 Live. So to take him from 205 Live for just a short trial period and immediately putting him on Monday Night Raw, I thought was a very big leap, but it was a big leap in faith. And I got to admit, I personally like Dio Madden, and I thought Vic Joseph was a good. I thought Vic Joseph is already good, so him just pairing him with Dio Madden, they already have a relationship. They're gonna be really good together. The problem was Jerry the King. He was annoying from the moment the show started. I don't like King. I was saying, I thought throughout this entire episode it was really easy to forget about commentary. It was really easy to not even notice that they were there. But if you did pay attention, Dio Madden, out of all of the all the commentary announcers, all that crap, commentators, out of all of them, between NXT, between SmackDown, previous SmackDown with Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton, and previous Monday Night Raw, all of them, between all of them, Dio Madden is the easiest to listen to. it might be him and then Nigel, or it might be Nigel and then him. But I think Nigel still talks with that with with with, with that what's the word I want to use? My vocabulary is big if I know the word that I'm trying to use. You know what I'm talking about? Um, uh, like Dio is very just laid back, relaxed, chill. He doesn't show any. He doesn't convey any emotion, any very drastic emotion. Nigel McGuinness still has that ability, or he still does it where he still talks with a fever pitch to a degree, even though he's very calm and relaxed. Dio Madden is very easy to listen to. It was very easy to just forget about commentary, but when you did, he was always very, very likable and very easy to listen to. It was my first time ever really listening to Dio Madden, other than 205 Live here and there with some clips here and there. Vic Joseph is Vic Joseph. He's good. I'm still surprised that Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton haven't been announced for anything. To my knowledge, I'm surprised that they weren't put over on Monday Night Raw. I don't know what they're gonna be doing. I'm still surprised at that, but I would have preferred this episode. I would have preferred King. King had his moments with commentary. He had his moments that were okay. It's Jerry the King Lawler. He's meant to be the overboard person, to just do everything 200% annoying. You know what I mean? He annoyed me the moment the show started. He was already just in your face, in your earbuds. You know what I mean? So if I had a wish at this very moment, I would say I would rather have Dio Madden and Vic Joseph, but I'm willing to give this a few more weeks. But if King annoys me some more, I want this. They should go back to 2-man commentary teams. There's no need for 3-man commentary teams, because it's always going to be the one guy that's just there for no reason. There's always going to be the play-by-play. There's always going to be the color commentator, and there's always going to be the person that's there to basically be the blunt of jokes, be the person that says outlandish things, or the person that is there just to say certain things, just to have some type of input that isn't really necessary. But those are my thoughts on commentary, on the new setup, all of that stuff. The intro was nice as well. The new intro was nice. I like the new graphic, like the little V graphic, like little arrow graphic. I like that for the Raw. It looks a little bit pixely, a little bit. I don't really, and it doesn't look as vibrant as, like, the actual setup and everything is more vibrant than the logo, which is odd. You would think it'd be the other way around. You would think it'd be matched to it, at least 5149, something like that. You know what I mean? But other than that, I thought the setup was okay. I like commentary so far. It's first night season premiere, man. All right. So anyway, with that out the way, we open the show with Rey Mysterio, the legend, a walking Hall of Famer who isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. He opened the show, cutting a promo. He once again, for like the 18th week in a row, he's thanking Dominic. Dominic is sitting right there in the front row. He's thanking Dominic once again, his son Dominic, for waking him up and making him see that his career isn't over with. He has a lot left in the tank, and he's gonna do everything in his power to make sure everything for the rest of his career is associated with Dominic being the reason why he is doing what he is doing. And then out of nowhere, mid sentence of saying he's gonna become the new Universal Champion, because he was supposed to have the match, the main event last night was supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. That was the main event. But in the middle of Rey Mysterio saying he's going to be the new Universal Champion and it's going to be because of Dominic, Brock Lesnar's music hit. Brock Lesnar was advertised last week to premiere for the season premiere. The reason why nobody knew, because we all knew he was supposed to wrestle on the SmackDown on Fox premiere for the WWE Championship with Kofi Kingston. So why exactly he's on Monday Night Raw, nobody knows. He has no business there. They haven't had any storyline with him on Monday Night Raw. So why exactly he's there, I do not know. Nobody knows. But we will soon find out because Brock Lesnar comes down. They snatched the microphone away from Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio snatches it right back from Paul Heyman. And as Rey Mysterio is about to say something, F5 to Rey Mysterio. 2 F5s to Rey Mysterio. And then, as Brock is just in the ring, and Dominic is in the front row trying to put on his best acting chops, Brock Lesnar goes over to Dominic, grabs him, ragdolls him around ringside, ragdolls him into the ring. He gives him some F5. He gives him some German suplexes. Then that's when all the refs come down. Brock Lesnar is gonna act like he's gonna walk away, walk up the ramp. Then he goes back for some more damage, more suplexes to Rey and Dominic. And the entire time, Rey is kind of no selling. And throughout the show, they had several different segments later on with different superstars, and you can see where the story is going, or where the story has been going. The entire time for weeks, Rey has been talking about, this is for my son Dominic. I'm doing this for my son Dominic. All of this is for my son Dominic because of my son Dominic. And you've heard stories of parents when their children are in compromising, horrible, life-threatening situations, how parents will do any and everything, all of the above. They amount superhuman strength. Mothers lifting cars off of their infant child, stuff like that. This is the WWE's equivalent of a mother lifting an entire car off of their infant child. Because the entire time Rey was getting destroyed, Dominic is getting destroyed. But the entire time Rey was always had just enough strength to make it over to his son to try to cover him up, to try to comfort his son, make sure his son is all right. And the entire time he's saying, I'm sorry, Dominic. I love you. So you can see that's where this story is going. That's what they were trying to convey. The entire time Rey was getting destroyed, but Rey getting destroyed was nothing compared to how he was feeling about his son being destroyed. If it wasn't for Rey, in Rey's mind, if it wasn't for Rey, Dominic wouldn't have been there on Monday Night Raw. Dominic wouldn't have been put in that position to get destroyed by Brock Lesnar. So the entire time Rey is fighting off whatever pain Rey is feeling is not enough to keep him down, to keep him away from protecting his son, being there to comfort his son, being there to look after his son, to love his son. So that's the story that they are trying to paint with Rey Mysterio and Dominic. That's what they've been trying to do. That's what they've been trying to do for the last week or so. That's what they've been trying, not a week or so. For the last few weeks, that's what they've been trying to do, but they've only been doing it with words. Tonight, they put it in action with Brock Lesnar. by having Brock Lesnar destroy the living crap out of both of them. And it was a pretty good segment. Phoenix, Arizona, I should admit, Phoenix, Arizona was pretty amped all night long. They were a very hot crowd. So, this segment really, it really amplified because of the crowd, getting into it, being in awe. Couple cuts to the camera of fans being horrified that this man is destroying this son, and he's not even in college yet. I don't think. And also another note I want to point out is Rey Mysterio must have the utmost faith in Brock Lesnar. Yes, they've known each other for years and years and years, and they're friends outside of the business. But this is Brock Lesnar. This is Brock Lesnar. This is like a bear on steroids and testosterone. You know what I mean? This is like of the utmost strength, of the utmost scary individuals. And your son isn't even a professional wrestler. You're training your son. Your son wants to be a wrestler, and you're training your son, and you believe your son is not only ready for this moment, but you think he's ready for Brock Lesnar of all people to destroy him. And you gave the okay. So shout out to Rey Mysterio for having faith in not only his son on taking the bumps as he's been taught, but to take them from Brock Lesnar. If he took them from Kurt Hawkins, okay, but he took them from Brock Lesnar. So more power to you, man. Dominic, you got my respect, son. I remember when you was knee high to a grasshopper. You know what I'm talking about? But now you taller than your daddy. Almost taller than Brock Lesnar. And he ragdolled you, son. Anyway, they ended the segment. All the referees came down to break it up. Brock Lesnar decided to destroy two of the producers. I think one of them might have been Fit Finley. I couldn't really see his face, but he destroyed whoever the redhead producer was. He like, yeah. If I didn't know it was choreographed, if I didn't know it was booked to be that way, I would have thought he was really trying to destroy that dude. And I wouldn't blame him because he looked like what's his name? Who the Sam guy? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The Sam guy, the ugly dude with the bad wrestling takes. He's on all the pre-shows. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. So the segment ended with Brock destroying him, going up, and during the commercial break, Dominic was loaded up into an ambulance. And Rey Mysterio was going with him. But Rey wasn't feeling any pain. Right after this, we had Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss, which was very controversial over the Twitter world over the weekend, over the last week, because Seth Rollins decided to get involved in it for some odd reason. And all of the Sasha stands out there decided to go hardcore at Mr. Seth Rollins, and they caused him to get rid of his Twitter account. But now he's back on Twitter, I believe, so whatever. Yeah. Anyway, before the match even started, Sasha made her entrance. Alexa Bliss made her entrance. Then, before the match started, before they rang the bell, Becky Lynch made her entrance, and she has her smoke now that she used to have in her entrance. She has that now, and it took maybe 5 minutes for that to stop. They just kept going with the smoke, just kept going with it. You know what I mean? And half the time, she wasn't even on the TV screen. You could just hear the smoke. You know what I mean? But she's on commentary. She's supposed to be on commentary, kinda. She goes sits with the commentary. Um, at one point, Sasha tosses Alexa Bliss out of the ring, and her and Sasha standing in the ring, and Becky Lynch standing on top of the table. They start drawing back at each other as if you can hear each other from about 28 feet away from each other. But they're jaw jacking at each other, and the entire time after they stop jaw jacking at each other, Becky just decides to, I'm gonna just keep standing on the commentary table. And as she's standing on the commentary table, they keep cutting back and forth between her and the action in the ring. And every time they cut to her, she's over here taping up her wrist, taping up her hands. So you already know, once this match is over, or at least at some point during the match, she finna go down there and try to mollywop Sasha Banks. The match was pretty short. There was really nothing in this match. The only thing that was of consequence to a degree that played into the finish of the match was that both Bayley and Nikki Cross were both banned from ringside for their respective teammates or partners. But Sasha was in the ring and she started to plead for Alexa Bliss not to hurt her. Don't. I don't want any more. I don't want any more. And then she starts to look into the crowd and she said, "Bayley, come here. Bayley, come on." So that distracts Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss looks to the crowd. She doesn't see Bayley, but she's expecting Bayley to come. And then Sasha Banks kicks Alexa Bliss in the kneecaps. And I guess she must have the strongest kicks in the game because she kicks Alexa Bliss in the kneecaps, rolls her up immediately with Schoolboy. I didn't see her pull any tights. I just heard it was a regular Schoolboy. Kicks her in the kneecaps. Schoolboy, 1, 2, 3. Sasha Banks win with the roll up. That if that's not her new finisher, I don't know what is, because that's the deadliest finisher of all time. You kick somebody in the knee. It wasn't even the kneecap. It was just the side of the knee. It was like in a thigh meat. And she kicked her and she pinned her. So I don't know. Chris Jericho has the Judas effect. You know what I mean? Sasha Banks, hey, go ahead and hit that ACL effect. You know what I mean? Or the boss effect. Some bounce check. Some name it. Some and make that your new finisher. Because obviously you winning with it, you know what I mean? You just got a very hard-fought victory against one half of the tag team champions by just hitting her in the side of the knee, you know what I mean? After that, Becky decides to make her way down to the ring, and her and Sasha Banks, they fight a little bit in the ring until Sasha Banks decides, this is not worth my time. This Sunday is Hell in a Cell. You gonna get these hands then, but not tonight. So she makes her way into the crowd as Becky Lynch decides to cut a little promo. And long story short, she's saying retribution is coming because Hell in a Cell is Sunday, and Sasha Banks has been hitting her with chair after chair after chair and attacking her from behind and all that stuff. So she's saying, I'm coming for you. You gonna get all this work on Sunday. That was the end of a very non-eventful, non-consequential match and segment. After this, we had Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler defending their Raw tag team titles against Heavy Machinery, who are SmackDown roster members. And this match had no build-up. They just announced it last week. I don't know. But before we got Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, we got their entrances, and then we went to commercial. We came back from commercial, and it was Seth Rollins having an interview backstage, talking about how disgusting it was of what Brock did, how it was something that you would expect from Brock Lesnar. So it wasn't a surprise. Ray isn't able to compete. He was saying Ray isn't physically able to compete and stuff. He's at the hospital with his son Dominic. So tonight the match, his Universal title defense against Rey Mysterio is not gonna happen. But whenever Ray does get healthy and he's able to come back, he's gonna be first in line for a shot at his Universal title. But tonight, he still wants to put the title on the line against somebody, so he's challenging anybody to step up to the plate to face Seth freaking Rollins. Then we have Heavy Machinery. They come out to the ring. Heavy Machinery is a huge star-studded tag team in Phoenix, Arizona, apparently. Otis, how can I put this? Okay. Vince and all the creative staff, they have to be very careful. Very careful with Heavy Machinery. Because everybody's known since, and if you paid attention to NXT throughout the entire history of Heavy Machinery so far, the tenure of Heavy Machinery, everybody knows Otis Dosevich, or just Otis now. Everybody can see every tag team has every tag team from here on out since the Rockers. Everybody will always look at the tag team and say, who's the Shawn Michaels and who is the Marty Jannetty? Some people will say in the Street Profits, some people will say Montez Ford, he's the Shawn Michaels to Angelo Dawkins being the Marty Jannetty. Some people might have it the other way around. If it was me, if I was ever split up the Street Profits, I would always have Angelo Dawkins be the Marty Jannetty, not the Shawn Michaels, because you can always play it up as he was always outshined by Montez Ford being the so outlandish and energetic guy and all that stuff, and he was always more liked from the fans, stuff like that. With Heavy Machinery, it is clear cut. It's always been this way that Otis Dosevich is the Shawn Michaels to Tucker Knight being the Marty Jannetty. And if Vince has already made the call to have Otis stop wearing the full onesie, the full singlet, and to now just wear trunks, or to at least wear the singlet without having the actual whole thing up, just wear it as trunks to show off his body, to show off that big old belly. Vince has to be careful, because if the goal is to keep Heavy Machinery as a team, Otis is up here, Tucker's down here. People like Heavy Machinery because of Otis. They don't really care about Tucker. They have to be careful, because if they aren't, people are going to be calling for Otis to be by himself. And if you aren't careful, you're gonna play yourself into being Otis by himself. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to say that Otis is clear. He's clearly the star of the group, because he's the one that does all with the crazy, funny stuff and stuff like, yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, the match starts off with Heavy Machinery displaying their strength. Their strength is why they're dominating the match so far. But then Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, being the veterans that they are, they start to use some heel tactics. They start to use some teamwork together. They haven't been together as long as a tag team, but they're using teamwork together in a better way than Heavy Machinery was. Heavy Machinery was using their strength separately, but Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, they were working as a team together to keep heavy machinery down to stay on top. The finish of the match was Otis getting it. Well, Otis got a hot tag. He put in some work. He managed to get both Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler down. He did a double caterpillar, which is already amazing that a guy that big can do a caterpillar. But if anybody ever saw, I think it was Breaking Ground. I think he was on an episode of Breaking Ground. It was one episode or something when you saw Otis. He was one of many people just trying to do a tryout, and that was one of the things that impressed them was that he could do the worm. He was such a big guy. So anyway, he does a double caterpillar to Dolph and Roode. Then Otis has Roode up for the compactor. Tucker takes the tag. Tucker comes in to come do the compactor with Otis. Dolph slides in, zigzag to Tucker. Super kick to Otis. Otis drops Robert Roode. Did I have that right? Yeah. Yeah. Zigzag to Tucker. Super kick to Otis. And then Otis, that knocks Otis out of the ring because Otis is not the legal man. So super kick to Otis, that knocks him out of the ring. Zigzag, super kick, all that jazz. Super kick to Tucker, go into the glorious DDT by Robert Roode. 1, 2, 3. Roode and Ziggler retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. This is not a surprise. The only surprise is that nothing changed hands. I was expecting a title to change hands on the season. It was the season premiere of Raw. They were building it up to be this massive thing. And it was just a solid episode. Nothing really happened. But after the Raw Tag Team title match, we had oops. Don't worry about that. We had Miz TV with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, which is interesting. Last week they were in San Francisco, and the sheer mention of Hulk Hogan's name drew massive amounts of boos. 1 week later, they are in Arizona. Now, me as a black person, I don't need to explain the history of Arizona and racial situations or issues, you know what I mean? That's for you to look up. But just know that they've existed. So, 1 week later in Phoenix, Arizona, Hulk Hogan is cheered massively. Ric Flair comes down, he's cheered massively. Miz TV starts off Ray wishing Ray another superstar after Seth wishing Ray and Rey Mysterio and Dominic all the best and a speedy recovery. And what Brock Lesnar did was deplorable, and he already knew. He couldn't imagine what he would do if somebody hurt his daughters. So, all the best to Ray and Dom. And like I said, Ric Flair comes down. He's cheered, as you'd expect. Hogan comes down. He's cheered, but it's fitting because it's in Arizona, and they have a history of in the entire segment, Rick is being Rick, talking over people, kind of stealing the segment a little bit. But Rick is full blown heel. You notice that from the jump. Rick is full blown heel. He's talking crap the entire time. And so they both call it the honor to be. Rick and Hogan call it the honor to be in each other's presence, call each other friends, call each other living legends. But then Rick talks about there's nobody that could ever be above him. That Hogan might be considered the number one draw, but there was nobody that was ever considered better than Ric Flair in the ring, and that includes Hulk Hogan. So these two old men, in what made me laugh really, really good, these two old men decided, let's pretend like we're gonna fight. So just the sheer thought of these two old men who could break their hips at any moment, potentially fighting, had me laughing so hard. And Ric Flair, being the Ric Flair that he is, he's always hitting ropes, doing all that stuff. And then they decide, ha ha ha, we're just joking. We can't do that. We're too old for that. But really, this whole segment was to promote them appearing in Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel. That will be the fifth Saudi Arabia show that I will not be watching because of, the history of Saudi Arabia and all that. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be Team Flair versus Team Hogan. And the team captain of Team Hogan, Seth Rollins. The team captain of Team Flair is Randy Orton, which makes perfect sense because they have that history together, being in Evolution and all that. So Randy Orton comes down. The segment is running over anyway. Randy Orton comes down. He challenges Seth Rollins. I thought Randy Orton would have challenged him to the Universal title match. That makes all the sense in the world. I don't care about this captain's match. I want that Universal title, baby. I just lost to Kofi Kingston for the WWE title, and Brock Lesnar is passing me up for another match at that. So let's just get the Universal title. You know what I mean? The draft is next week. I get this. I'm gonna be on Raw. You know what I mean? That didn't happen. Randy Orton challenges Seth Rollins to a team captain's match. I don't know why they didn't just say a regular match. I don't know why he didn't challenge for the Universal title, but whatever. It happened. The match never started anything like that. Baron Corbin, his music hits. He comes down to the ring. He distracts Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins is like, why is King Corbin coming down to the ring? He has no business out here. While Seth Rollins is distracted, Randy Orton hits Seth Rollins from behind. King Corbin comes in. They start tag teaming on Seth Rollins. And that's when Rusev's music hit. And Rusev come down. He makes the save. And then that's when commentary is like, it looks like we have the first two members for each team. Seth and Rusev for Team Hogan, and Randy and Corbin for Team Flair. So obviously Team Hogan is going to be full of faces. Team Flair is going to be full of heels. Obviously, because Flair was working heel in the segment, so they telegraphed it picture perfectly 100% that that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Then after that whole saga, Rusev was backstage having an interview, and he was talking about it's an honor to be a part of Team Hogan, so he confirmed it right then and there. I believe it was Charlie was interviewer, but she asked him, whoever it was, it might have been Charlie or it might have been Sarah, asked him, where's Lana? That's what everybody wants to know. And he says nothing. Just blank stare. Then she asked him another question, and he basically answered the first question in the second question. And he states he's not here to talk about his problems at home. So obviously, right then and there, we know something ain't good with Lana and Rusev. Then he says, I just saved Seth Rollins, so you owe me a favor. I'm challenging you to the Universal title tonight. Okay, Rusev. Alrighty, and then after after that Rusev interview where he challenged Seth Rollins, we had another AOP video, sit down interview, whatever, and I didn't write down everything that they said, but the ending line was basically, um, they're the they are the authors of pain because they are violent. They basically saying this is like, if you are this, then you are this. If you are this, then you are that. If you like violence, then you are made from violence. If you are violent, stuff like that. So basically, they were saying that they are the authors of pain because they are violence, because of where they grew up, where they're from, their background, the manner in which they grew up, and the things in which they were taught, and their environment, that they are the authors of pain because they are violence. As simple as that. After that, we had the War Raiders. I call them the War Raiders still because the Viking Raiders is dumb. And I don't call them Eric and Ivar. I call them Ro and Hanson versus the OC. The OC need a better name because the OC reminds me of MTV, Laguna Beach, all those terrible shows about the rich 20-something-year-olds. The OC need a better name. Talk to New Japan. See if you can buy the name Bullet Club. Something. I don't know. Think of something. Because the OC is not threatening. War Raiders. That's intensity. That's something in you. War Raiders. It's right there. War Raiders. The OC. The alphabet. I'm supposed to be afraid of the alphabet. Really? The original, the official, the only. Really? Kraft mac and cheese is like the only Kraft mac and cheese. You know what I'm talking about? It's a whole bunch of imitations, but they the only Kraft. Am I supposed to be afraid of Kraft mac and cheese? Huh? Am I? I don't know. The OC need a better name. That's all I'm saying. They need a better name. It's not intimidating enough for what their new theme, what the new interest theme is, and what their actions in the past. The OC is not intimidating enough. It's not hardcore enough. You got Luke Gallows out here rocking face paint. He's supposed to be intimidating, but you call him the OC. What is the OC supposed to mean? Like, it's not intimidating to me. You know what I mean? I don't. Whatever. Okay. You know exactly what I know what I mean. Okay. This was a back and forth affair early on. The OC end up taking control of the match. They do the classic heel tactics, cutting off half the ring, keeping each member. I think it was Hanson. No, it was Rowe. Keeping Rowe. It was one of them dudes. Keeping them in their corner of the ring. I'm calling them the War Raiders, okay? I'm not saying Viking Raiders. So if y'all got a problem with that, that's on you. It don't upset me if you got a problem with it, okay? The War Raiders, they end up making a comeback. Gallows almost wins with a 12-step. Shout out to anybody that knows why it's called the 12-step or why I'm calling it the 12-step. I don't know what it's called now. But if you know why I'm calling it the 12-step, shout out to you because you're an OG. But you're not an OG, but you just know something that a lot of people might not know. Anyway, Hanson ends up taking out Carl Anderson with a suicide dive. And then he hops up on the top rope. He does a top rope fun splash to Gallows. 1, 2, 3. The War Raiders win. This is, I want to say they've beat the OC twice. I want to say they beat them twice now. I want to say. But yeah, the problem with the War Raiders was for so long they didn't do anything except feed them to jobbers. And it wasn't like Braun Strowman getting fed jobbers, because Braun Strowman is one person. Braun Strowman is one person getting fed jobbers, and he just ragdolling them doing some cool stuff or whatever. And then they move him right along to Roman Reigns, right? With the War Raiders, they fed them jobber after jobber after jobber after jobber, but they were never doing anything cool in the matches, because it was always just overpowered. You know what I mean? They weren't ragdolling people and stuff like that, to like in the sense of what ragdolling really is. You know what I mean? And then for some reason, Vince told them when they got called up, he was like, "This is just me in my mind." He was like, "I want you guys to. What are Vikings supposed to be? They're supposed to be intense barbarians, basically. I want you to be intense. I want you to be aggressive. I want you to be angry all the time. I want you to be loud. I want you to scream nonstop." That's annoying. It's not cool to just scream to the top of your lungs. It's not cool. They never did that like that in NXT. They did it, but they weren't doing it so much to the point that it's just awkward. And then when the fans aren't behind you like that for so long on the main roster because they aren't doing anything with you, it's just these two guys dressed up like Vikings screaming all the time. You know what I mean? So for so long they didn't do anything with the War Raiders, and then they put them against the OC, but it's not like the OC were the top dogs. Like Roman was top dog basically. So pairing Braun Strowman with Roman Reigns right after destroying jobbers, it immediately it legitimizes Braun Strowman. And then he's ragdolling Roman Reigns. It legitimizes Braun Strowman even more. With the War Raiders, they put them with the OC, but the OC, they weren't tag champs anymore. They aren't top dogs anymore. They aren't, without AJ Styles, they aren't viewed as being as legit as they are. So they're just feuding with the OC. So it's like a feud that isn't as meaningful as it could have been, as it should have been, for many different factors. But the War Raiders win. They beat the OC, clean victory. You don't know what's gonna come next week. We have Raw, and then next Friday is going to be the first night of the WWE draft. So you don't know what's gonna happen with either of these teams. I don't know, but the War Raiders win. Following this, we had Cesaro having an interview. Well, Cesaro wasn't having an interview. Charlie was backstage giving an update on Rey Mysterio and all that, and then Cesaro comes in and interrupts her, and because of how he feels and his dislike for Rey Mysterio and his hatred toward Rey Mysterio, he doesn't feel bad for Rey. He would have done the same exact thing that Brock Lesnar did. And in the middle of him spewing his hate for Rey Mysterio, Ricochet comes in and he's like, "Hey, you think you're so tough, but you're half the man that Rey Mysterio is." Granted, Cesaro was like at least a foot taller than Rey Mysterio. But last week, he beat Cesaro. You know what I mean? Ricochet was like, "You're half the man that he is, but you think you're so tough, I'm going to go out to the ring and you can meet me out there." So we get Ricochet versus Cesaro. Not the first time that they've had a match. Maybe like the fourth time, fifth time that they've had a match since Ricochet has been called up to the main roster. But as you'd expect, they all have been good. So they did a lot in a short amount of time. This is one of those matches where it's like, it was creatively, it was perceived to, it was It was made to give us the perception as if Ricochet was challenging him to a match on the spot. It wasn't supposed to be some drawn down match that was weeks in advance. That was supposed to have 20 minutes of time. It was supposed to be a match right then and there. So they did a lot in a short amount of time. But it's Cesaro and it's Ricochet, two of the best in the business. What do you expect? You put them together, obviously it's going to be great. So this match, the theme of the night was power versus agility, power versus speed. Whose specialty can trump the other person's specialty. So early on, it was Cesaro. When if it wasn't for Brock Lesnar, I would say Cesaro was the strongest person in the company, including Braun Strowman. Cause Cesaro just does some freaky things, man. Just like strength wise, he just does some freaky things, and he's been in the business for a long time. It's like he has never gotten weaker. That man is just freaky strong. So this is just Cesaro outpowering Ricochet, but Ricochet using his like Sonic the Hedgehog, just using his speed to outdo, to try to negate any power advantage that Cesaro has. And I didn't really pay attention to the Rey Mysterio Cesaro match last week, so I didn't recall if Rey Mysterio hit a West Coast pop last week to win the match. But man, Ricochet hit a West Coast pop, which is a springboard hurricanrana, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was with Cesaro, so Cesaro makes everything look great as well. He's always going to be in the right position. But man, it's been so long since I've seen a West Coast pop. It's been like mid 2000s when Rey Mysterio was with the WWE the first time. And man, it's been so long, and that thing was so beautiful, man. Ricochet hits the West Coast pop. He gets the victory. And this match in the subsequent segment between the two, it made me realize like Cesaro deserves, like I've always said it and I've always thought it, but it just made me think about it even more. Cesaro deserves so much more. And I'm not saying that the segment was a downgrade or it was a throwaway segment, because it's against Ricochet, and they obviously have all the hope in the world and promise in the world for Ricochet. I'm just saying, like, Cesaro is one of those, like, this match should have been Cesaro as mid-card champ versus Ricochet. Mid-card champ having a beef with somebody with Rey Mysterio. And then Ricochet comes in, challenges mid-card. He challenges the mid-card champ, the Intercontinental or United States champion. Challenges him to a match, impromptu match, not for the championship, just you think you're so better than that person or whatever. You think you're so better than everybody else. Let me go out here and show you. Challenges him to a match and wins. That then sets up Cesaro versus Ricochet feud for a few months for Cesaro's championship. And they can switch hands a couple times, you know what I mean? Cesaro is one of those people that you put the title on him, he can carry a division for you. You put him on SmackDown and you put him as Intercontinental Champion, and I guarantee you, I would be more into him versus Ali, him versus Buddy Murphy, him versus Chad Gable, him versus Apollo Crews, him versus Kevin Owens, him versus anybody. Put him on Raw, him versus Raw Raw doesn't even have a mid-card division, do they? No. Him versus him on SmackDown, him versus Andrade, stuff like that. Andrade is another one of those people that in the same boat. Like, their true potential can be realized if you don't have them doing something of value, of importance. Put a title on them and watch how they elevate. Just from an in-ring perspective. If you want the best of the best, put your title on the best of the best in the ring. That's why AJ Styles is United States Champion. Put the title on Cesaro. Put a mid-card title on Cesaro and watch him. Or instead of Rusev being the person that randomly challenges Seth Rollins for the Universal title, why not have Cesaro be in that situation? Don't even worry about Rusev being the second member of Team Hogan. No. Or don't even worry about having a second member of any team. And the team both teams were just formed 2 seconds ago. So nobody cares about two members of being added to both teams already. So instead of Rusev being the person to challenge Seth Rollins, who's a face, who's gonna be his partner in a few months, or not in a few months, well, at the end of this month, at the end of October, for the Saudi Arabia show. Instead of it being Rusev, which everybody in the world knows Rusev has no chance of winning the Universal title. And I'll get to that segment later on. Everybody knows Rusev has no chance to win the Universal title. So why put him in the match? Because we know he's not going to win. We know no matter who faces Seth Rollins for the Universal title between now and between Hell in a Cell, they weren't going to win because it's going to be Seth Rollins versus The Fiend. But why not? But think about what would have happened if you put Cesaro in that match. People would have been more into the match. People would have cared more about the match. And there would have been the idea of Cesaro could win because Cesaro could win anything. Cesaro is one of the only guys Cesaro was one of the only guys in the entire company. He's one of the only guys in the entire company, in the entire business, that's legitimate in any area, in any phase. You can put him anywhere and he's legitimate. No matter how much you might bury him or underutilize him, he's always going to be legitimate. So you put Cesaro in the match against Seth Rollins, it's going to be a better match than Seth Rollins versus Rusev. That's going to be a fact. And it's just going to be more believable. You can get into it more. And Cesaro is more... Cesaro... How do I put this? I'll just keep it at that. Cesaro is more legitimate. Cesaro, put a title on him and you can elevate an entire division. Seriously. So, I'm not saying that this statement was a downgrade or anything. It was disrespectful to Cesaro. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I would have loved it more if Cesaro had a title and then it was just these two fighting and it was non-title, but it sets up a feud in the future. Or if Cesaro was the one to face Seth Rollins instead of Rusev. That's all I'm saying. That was my rant. I'm sorry, okay? After the Ricochet Cesaro match, we had Firefly Funhouse, and all of the puppets are scared. They're all scared. They're all shaking, crying, because they're afraid of what the Fiend is going to do to Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell. They're all afraid to death of what he's going to do because they know his abilities. And they're afraid of what's going to happen to Seth Rollins. So afraid, in fact, that Rambling Rabbit just dies on the spot. But Bray doesn't care. Bray acts like he cares that Rambling Rabbit is dead, and he just tosses Rambling Rabbit to the side. So he doesn't care. This is the second time that Rambling Rabbit has died on Firefly Funhouse. This is the second time. The first time, Bray smashed him to pieces and then started selling jars of Raymond Rabbit jelly or whatever, or preservatives, something like that. You know what I mean? Good stuff. Then Bray says it's okay to be scared because Bray's scared too. But at the end of the day, the Fiend will protect them. The Fiend will protect everybody. And the Fiend will also return. But he doesn't think that Seth Rollins most likely will not return. And Seth Rollins won't be fortunate. Just like the Fiend will be fortunate by winning and stuff like that. But Bray has an idea. Bray has a solution. He's gonna go find the Fiend, and he's gonna tell him to be nice to Seth. He's gonna tell the Fiend to be nice to Seth. Be nice to Seth tonight. Be nice to Seth all week. Be nice to Seth at Hell in a Cell. Then he laughs hysterically and says, "No, he won't do that." And then he says, "Let me in." And then, bye, Firefly Funhouse is a wrap for the night. So you know right away the Fiend is going to make an appearance tonight. Next, we had AJ Styles putting his U.S. title on the line against Cedric Alexander. Keep in mind, Cedric Alexander lost to AJ Styles at Clash of Champions clean. Cedric Alexander lost clean in a pretty quick match on the pre-show. He lost that U.S. title match clean to AJ Styles at Clash of Champions. Then the very next night, I want to say it was the next night, in a 6-man tag match, Cedric Alexander was the one who took the clean pinfall against AJ Styles. AJ Styles pinned him clean in a triple threat match in a 6-man tag match. Dang. AJ Styles pinned Cedric Alexander clean in the 6-man tag match. Now, in that match, the War Raiders took out Gallows and Anderson. So it technically became a 1-on-1, and AJ Styles ended up on the better end. Fast forward to season premiere of Raw last night. The start of the match, AJ blitzes Cedric with his offense, but Cedric ends up using his own speed to blitz AJ Styles. Then AJ manages to Cedric was going to go for a springboard clothesline or some type of springboard maneuver, but AJ Styles catches him while he's on the ropes and he hits a little TKO guillotine to Cedric Alexander on top of the rope to basically choke Cedric Alexander. And then AJ Styles hits a little springboard forearm to the outside of the ring on Cedric Alexander. Then we go to commercial. Come back. Was that at that time? Anyway, then later on, Cedric hits a GTS variation. It was kind of like a military press, kind of, but instead of a knee, he kicked him in the head. He almost wins off of that. The crowd was hyped for that moment. The crowd was pretty into this match. Phoenix was hot all night, surprisingly, because it wasn't really anything consequential last night except for the Brock Ray Dominic opening segment. But the crowd was hot all night, so I give respect to Phoenix for that. The crowd was hot all night. Then AJ later on attempts the phenomenal form, but Cedric ducks under and he hits a snap Migonoshi driver, and he almost picks up the victory there. You thought it might have been it, but it wasn't. Then AJ goes for a Styles Clash on Cedric Alexander. Cedric reverses that, attempts to do the lumbar check, but Styles reverses that. Cedric reversed the Styles Clash into a roll up. AJ kicks out. Cedric then goes for the lumbar check, but AJ reverses that. He reverses the lumbar check into a Styles Clash. Hits the Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles wins. He pins Cedric Alexander. AJ Styles beats Cedric Alexander clean for the third time in a row. Between them facing each other the third time in a row. And twice for the U.S. Championship. So, we have no reason to. Cedric Alexander, theoretically, he has no reason to have another rematch against AJ Styles. He has no dog in the fight in terms of wanting the U.S. Championship. Or he doesn't have a right to face AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship. No, they just had AJ Styles beat Cedric Alexander 3 times in a row, clean, no dirtiness, clean, and twice were singles competition. And the 2 times they were singles competitions, it was for the U.S. Championship. Made no sense to me. I thought for sure. I knew the Raw Tag Team titles weren't going to change hands. And the U.S. Championship was the only other championship match on tonight besides Ray and Seth. But once the beginning of the show started and it was clear that Ray versus Seth wasn't going to happen, you knew Seth was never going to lose that title. You knew Seth wasn't going to lose the title to begin with because it was already teased for like a whole month that it was going to be Seth versus The Fiend at Hell in a Cell. So you knew Seth was never going to lose to begin with. But it's still more likely that he will lose to Rey Mysterio than he will lose to Rusev. So you knew Seth wasn't gonna lose the Universal title, no matter who he was facing. The Raw Tag Team Championships weren't gonna lose because there was no build to it, and there was a SmackDown team, and it was just a random match thrown together. But this was the one match all night. This was the one title all night that you thought for sure this has to be it. Season premiere of Raw. You're thinking big things are gonna happen. New set, Pyro's back, new commentary team, new graphics, season premiere. This is a premiere week for WWE. Everything this week is gonna be massive. All that jazz. Cedric Alexander lost to AJ Styles at Clash of Champions clean. The night after, he lost again to AJ Styles in a 6-man tag match, but AJ Styles pinned him clean in the middle of the ring for weeks and weeks and weeks. He's been on the losing effort of brawls and fights against AJ Styles, so on and so forth. AJ Styles has had the upper hand the entire feud. You thought tonight on the season premiere of Raw was going to be the night that they had Cedric Alexander have that underdog triumphant victory, meaningful victory for the United States Championship, and they didn't do it. Why they didn't do it, I do not know. If anything was going to happen, this would have been the night. This would have been the most important thing to happen all night, basically. Cedric Alexander defeating AJ Styles. That's pretty big. Not only that, but he beats him for a championship. That's pretty big. Because other than the first 25 minutes of the show, there wasn't a single thing of importance all night. And you thought this was going to be it. This was going to be the moment that something important happened. Nothing happened. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen between Cedric. I don't know what's going to happen with AJ Styles. We'll figure out at the draft. I don't know. After this, we had the Street Profits. They basically promote
their tag team title match on NXT on Wednesday. They're talking about how they are NXT and stuff like that. Yada yada. That was all they really did. Nothing else important. After this, we had Lacey Evans versus Natalia. As you'd expect, this Lacey Evans was gonna win. She's at the upper hand the entire feud. Um, a match nobody cared about. I didn't care about, but you knew it was gonna happen. Um, After the match, Lacey ends up hitting Natalia with a women's right. The finish of the match saw Natalia rake, I mean, Lacey Evans rake Natalia's eyes and then roll her up and kind of grab tights, but Natalia doesn't have tights to grab, so she just kind of like pulls her lower back up more, like towards her more, so she can't kick out, I guess. And that's how she wins. You already knew Lacey was gonna win, so there was really no need to care about this match. After the match, she hits her with the women's right. That was that. Following this, we had Paul Heyman backstage with the interview. He's all hyped and amped and motivated. He acknowledges that what Brock Lesnar did to Rey Mysterio and Dominic were wrong, but it wasn't Brock Lesnar's fault. It wasn't Paul Heyman's fault. It was Vince McMahon's fault for allowing Brock Lesnar to book himself on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. It was Vince McMahon's fault for allowing any of this to happen. But basically, Kofi Kingston is next on Friday, season premiere of the debut of SmackDown on Fox. Kofi Kingston, you're next, and Brock is going to be the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Following this, we had Maria Kanellis. She had an interview. She says Rusev isn't the baby daddy, but then walks away. Like she says that Rusev isn't baby daddy, but Rusev also has problems at home, so it's an insult. It's rude to even to bring Rusev into this, and so she walks away. Then Sasha comes through, grabs a mic, and she's looking at the camera. She shows a promo, and she says, "There's only been two women Hell in a Cell matches, and she's been in both, and she'll be in. She was in the first one, and she'll be in the second one, and she'll be damned if any man, aka Becky Lynch, is the man. She'll be damned if any man wins her match." Simple stuff. I like it how they waited until 3 hours, 2.5 hours later for Becky for Sasha to say anything, but she was still pumped up from like an hour and a half earlier. So I like that part. After this, a mysterious limo pulls up, and if this thing had the little horns on the front, you think it was JBL's limo, because that thing was white, just like all the JBL limos from back in the day. He might have like one or two black limos, but all his limos were white. Anyway, the main event of the night was Rusev versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Randy Orton and Baron Corbin were standing on the stage, spectating the match. During commercial break, uh, before the match started, we saw the limousine. They went to commercial break. Came back from commercial break. Rusev was in the ring. His music was playing. Baron and Randy were standing at the top of the stage, and for some reason, Baron's throne had broken some mysterious way. But thanks to fan footage after the show of people recording Baron and Randy, what happened was Baron was sitting down in his throne, and then randomly it just broke. Like both of his front legs on the chair broke. So you can't sit in the chair that's broken. So he and Randy just stood at the top of the ramp. Um, The match starts with Rusev brushing off Seth, any of Seth's attacks. This was just like all the other matches was Rusev using his strength versus Seth using his speed and agility to try to combat each other. Then as the match is going to commercial break, the match goes to commercial break in the middle of it, the Fiend, his little face appears as we fade to black for commercial. So once again, the Fiend is gonna make an appearance. Then we come back, the match goes on a little bit more, then out of nowhere, Bobby Lashley's music hits. Side note, me and my boy, his name is Terrence. I'll link his Twitter in the description. We talk about wrestling almost every day, probably. And during the show, we were talking about, like, with Cesaro, we were talking about Cesaro, and we were talking about Biggie. We were talking about people that we would like to see face Brock Lesnar. People that we think would have been great against Brock Lesnar. And we were talking about Cesaro, we were talking about Big E, and Bobby Lashley was a person that we were talking about. Something that has been teased, something that's been talked about for a while now, back when Brock was Universal Champion. We talked about Bobby Lashley. And I was like, because a few weeks ago it came out that Bobby Lashley, his return date from surgery, would have been the end of this month, I believe. So I was like, yeah, Bobby Lashley could work. It just he wasn't coming back until like the end of this month. And then out of nowhere, Bobby Lashley, his music hits. And then he comes out in his ring gear. Why? I do not know. But they want you to put two and two together that Bobby Lashley was in the limousine that pulled up. But we never saw anybody get out of the limousine. Anyway, Bobby Lashley comes out. He interrupts everything. His music hits. Rusev and Seth, they stop going at it. Rusev was just standing in the ring looking up at Bobby Lashley like, what's going on? Seth is ringside just trying to catch his breath, trying to get his stuff together. And then it took like 3 times of Bobby Lashley doing this to the entrance. Do this. And then finally Lana, like you knew Lana was going to come out. Okay, listen. Anybody that was watching it, anybody that saw what was going on, you saw Seth Rollins was on the outside and Rusev was the one in the ring. Rusev was the one that was being focused on, and Bobby Lashley was focusing on Rusev. So you knew whoever was about to come out had something to do with Rusev. You knew it. So if you didn't put 2 and 2 together, they made it a point to acknowledge Lana twice. In the Rusev interview and in the Maria interview. They made it a point to acknowledge her twice. And they've been doing so like the past couple weeks ever since Rusev came back. If you didn't think that Lana was about to come out every time Bobby did this, something wrong with you. So he does this 3 times. They don't do it. They never hit her music. She never comes out. Finally, she does it. He does it a 3rd time. Her music hits. She comes out looking good, as you'd expect, because it's Lana. She's very, very annoying on the outside. Like outside of wrestling, she's very annoying. But she's a good-looking woman. Lord have mercy. She comes out. Rusev is all confused. She goes over to Bobby. They hold hands. They hug. They hug a little bit. And all the fans are like, ooh. And then Bobby's like, hold on. Then they just start locking lips. Nah. And then they stop. And then Bobby was like, oh, I got more. He grabs her, pulls her in. They start like okay. Have y'all ever had mac and cheese where you put it in like a big pan, and then you like sprinkle some more cheese on top, and then you put it in the oven. You let it sit up in the oven for a bit, and that top start to get all crusty, and it start to get all little burnt, little edgy, little. Woo! And then you take it out, and it's all burnt, and then you put a little spoon, and then you take a spoon, and you just like, and you just hear all the gooiness, all the deliciousness. It's like food porn, bro. And like you bite into it, and then that just feeling of like that good old mac and cheese, and you just like, that's what it was like with him and Lana. He was, she was, and then at one point he like they like pulled her in. She was grabbing his face, and then he was, and then like she like lifted her leg up so her knee was like on his hip and stuff, and he like grabbed her thigh. He like grabbed a whole bunch of chunk of her thigh meat, and then like she like extended her leg out so you can like see like her muscles flexing and stuff, but like you can almost see what was on the inside on me. And then he was like doing, he was so into it. He was like bending her backwards and stuff like that while he was putting her leg up in his mom. And then Rusev was just in the ring, just looking like. That's how Rusev was looking like. Yeah. And then as they were doing that some more, the Fiend, all the lights start to all the shut down. So you know the Fiend's coming out. Then the Fiend appears ringside, and he has the mandible claw on Seth, and that's how the show ends. Now I already talked about I would have rather had Cesaro. Listen, I don't know who it is that told Vince McMahon about Cuck. I don't look at Cuck videos. I know what it is, but I don't look at it. Whoever told Vince McMahon something wrong with you, dog. This is like the 500th time that Rusev and Lana have been a part of a love triangle. Now, I don't know who idea was for this to happen. I don't know if they both were down to do this. But listen, dog. If I saw my wife, like, listen, I don't know how good of a kisser Bobby Lashley is, okay? I'm not going to act like I know. I don't want to know. But she looked like she was into that, dog. I'm not going to hold you, though. She looked like she was up into that, dude. When that leg come up, oh, you know it's real, fam. Now, granted, she was putting on the show, I would assume. But, dang, dude. Like, it was like, this ain't no regular kiss, dog. Like, it's okay if it's like, okay, y'all can kiss. But this was like, I was expecting the, like, okay, if Mandy Rose's music would have hit at that moment while they were making out, if Mandy Rose's music, if that would have started playing at that moment, I would have been like, yes, I know what's about to go on now. He about to turn around, pull that skirt up, and he about to go. He already had his ring gear on, so he was already almost naked. He already had a little trunks on. So all he had to do was, you know what I mean? It's a PG show, but that was, boy, they needed some censor bars over there. You know what I'm talking about, dog? Psh. But yeah, I don't know how I feel. I'm not married. I don't know how it feels to have your wife slobbing down on some bald black dude. I'm going bald, but ain't nobody finna try to slob with me. Ain't nobody looking at me and they want to slob down on me. If you do want to slob down on me, please let me know, and we can probably make some arrangements. You know what I mean? Other than that, ain't nobody, especially not somebody like Lana. Now, me as a black man, I wanted to slob down on Lana for a long time. So I'm not gonna act like I was not jealous last night. I was not appalled and also jealous that Bobby Lashley beat me to the punch. But I was also proud that a black man was slobbing down on Lana. You know what I mean? I've gone too far. So let me go ahead and cut this off before I say anything else that's going to come back to bite me in the butt. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. I sincerely hope you enjoyed my take on it. You can expect more Raw takes like this. Get it what I said? Raw takes. You can expect more takes like this, more honest, objective opinions, more fact based opinions. Cause this is my first time doing a review in such a long time, and this is my first time doing it in a way in which I can remember that I'm doing it my way, in terms of what I'm saying, how I'm acting. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm just trying to be me. And that's the best way to be, because I'm already real. So I just got to show y'all what realness is like in this wrestling community. Because this wrestling community is out of control. So just know I'm somebody that y'all can count on for the straight facts, for the truth, for the real opinion, and that's not biased. I will be doing a Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and AEW reviews. And I tried to look at Impact the other day. I just can't get back into Impact. There's so many things. There's a lot of cringe-worthy stuff still wrong with Impact, and I can't bring myself to. But if Impact can straighten up their ways, I'll try to do Impact if possible. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know, like, subscribe, comment down below what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see, anything that you agreed with, that you didn't agree with. Let me know. And yeah, it's been a minute since I did one of these, but I found my groove a little bit, especially talking about that mac and cheese and Lana. Yeah. Anyway, see you later, guys.